Welcome back to the Fitness Empowerment Podcast. I'm Danye Phillips, the diet doc of Shreveport Bossier, certified personal trainer and fitness nutrition specialist, nationally qualified NPC bikini bodybuilder, social media content creator, and lifestyle entrepreneur. I am here to bring you that empowering nudge you've been searching for to take your next leap of strength in your fitness and health journey. My goal is to give you the tools to success along your journey so that when you have a question or an idea, you know where to go and you no longer feel helpless or overwhelmed with where or how to start. Let's dive in to today's topic. Don't you see we're invincible? Welcome back to the Fitness Empowerment Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited today because this was going to be a solo episode, but I'm here with my best friend from college, Mary Ann. Say hello.
Hi.
And we had the opportunity to hang out at my parents' beach house this weekend, and so I figured we may as well just talk about protein bars, because that was actually a request from a client of mine, is how to pick out a proper, power bar or protein bar. And so it only made sense that two of us health nuts over here should just chat about it and have a conversation about it instead of me saying, I need to go record this conversation by myself. Can you wait downstairs? So, Mary Ann, give a little bit of background and how you know what you know about nutrition and just being healthy. You have always had a really healthy lifestyle. And so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I did go to school in this health and fitness arena. I got my bachelor's in exercise science and then my master's in exercise physiology from the University of Georgia. Growing up, I always have been an athlete. So being exposed to that arena of health performance definitely gave me a personal experience when it comes to nutrition and health.
So a client had asked me, how do you choose the right kind of power bar? And they were particularly talking about a zone bar and if that was a good type of nutrition for them. And so I think there's a few things to keep in mind here. And the two big pieces are, is it pre-workout or is it post-workout? And that is kind of maybe a bigger guiding factor on what you want to look for in that bar. So that bar in particular, and for those of you who don't know, who are new listeners, I'm a big proponent of tracking your macronutrients and understanding what ingredients and what nutrition is in the food that you're eating so that you know how to have the right proportions of the macronutrients or your fats, your carbs, and your proteins throughout the day. So as far as tracking goes, really focusing on those fats, carbs, and proteins. Within that particular zone bar that they were mentioning, it was 190 calories and 6 grams of fat. 4 of those are saturated fat, 22 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of protein. So for me, when I initially look at that, I feel like it's pretty low fat, it's pretty moderate in carb, and it's pretty moderate in protein. However, this also totally depends on the person and where you are in your fitness journey and how many calories you eat per day, whether you're in a dieting phase or in, a quote unquote bulking phase and you're trying to eat more food. And again, whether it's pre or post workout. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but Mary Ann has a very different, not a super different, but just a different approach. She does track here and there, 5 days a week right now. Right. But I think because she's been so in tune with her body and what she's needed from a health perspective her whole life, she is, I think, approaching from more of just, what are the ingredients? And yes, it's not so macro focused, but it's what's healthy in here and is it nutritious and whole and is it going to fuel my body? So why don't you talk a little bit about what your approach to grabbing a bar to go to the gym would be like?
Absolutely. So as she said, I definitely am more interested in the actual food that makes up those macronutrients. I think macronutrients are very important. I think that there is an optimal breakdown of those macronutrients. You need to have a certain percentage of each of the three. However, I do disagree with some in that I think it does matter what makes up those macronutrients. If those carbs are all simple carbohydrates, it's not going to set you up for success to maintaining that percentage because you're going to be hungry, you're going to eat more calories than, say, if you were to substitute a lot of those simple carbs for a more complex carb like, oats or brown rice or something in that effect. As well as, for instance, our bodies, from a biochemistry standpoint, process different foods differently. For instance, why coconut oil is such a huge thing right now, even though it is high in saturated fat, the types of chains that make up that fat are actually medium chains, and our body processes those differently than, say, a long chain fatty acid that makes up the stearic acid, which makes up animal fat that's saturated. So I do think that from a biochemistry standpoint, our bodies do process food differently. So, for instance, the Zone Bar that we were talking about, if we looked at the actual ingredient list, which I don't have in front of me currently. So I've seen Zone Bars before.
I can't say I don't even know if I've ever tried a Zone Bar. But I mean, going to the macros that are on there, like for me personally, so I think this also depends, like, again, where you are in your journey. And so for me, this bar, it would be a decent pre or post workout, but it would not be something that I could have by itself. For me, 22 grams of carbs is a pre-workout. I'm going to be starving 20 minutes into my workout and I'm going to have to go get something else to eat. And right now I eat 140 grams of protein per day. So if I want a really good solid meal for protein source, I need more than 12 grams of protein. However, somebody who is maybe just starting their fitness and nutrition and health journey that's eating about 1,500 calories a day, give or take, they might only be eating 120 to 130 grams of carbs. And this might be a really good, solid pre-workout for them. And some of this is going to come with trial and error. If you don't know, try it. If it's not enough food and you feel like you're starving 30 minutes into your workout, then next time that you might need a bigger pre-workout source of food. Now, if I don't think 12 grams of protein is enough post-workout by any means. Mm-hmm. So I think in general, if you're looking at the macros and trying to figure out what you should have pre or post-workout, you should find a bar that is maybe more labeled as an energy bar versus a pre-workout bar that's going to be higher in carbohydrates and a little bit lower in fat and a little bit lower in protein, versus a post-workout bar, which would be something that is probably moderate to higher in fat and then a little bit lower on the carb end than a pre-workout bar, and higher in protein, maybe something closer to 25 to 30 grams of protein is what I would go for. The fats, I would say, unless you're on a ketogenic diet, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't aim to find something that's higher in fat for a pre-workout, because your body is going to use the carbohydrates first as a main fuel source. So I would just tend to go towards something that's higher in carbs. For me, I'm going to look for something that's 40 or 50 grams of carbs. Yeah. But that's not something most people can do.
or should do. And I think that's something that you need to, depending on your fitness goals. Danye is 5'6", 5'5", 120 pounds. And so she's able to process that a lot better than someone that maybe is not as lean as she is. So kind of circling back to what we were talking about, actual ingredients, I pulled up, one of the Zone bars. And, the first thing on the ingredient list is soy protein nuggets, made up of isolated soy protein, cocoa, tapioca starch, and salt. Then you have the chocolate flavored coating, which is sugar, fractionated palm kernel oil, which is a trans fat, cocoa powder, soy lecithin, non-fat milk powder, and vanilla. And that's just starting with the first two ingredients. And it goes on and on. So for me, having...
you already lost me.
Right?
If I was looking at it, that would be one thing, but I don't. I don't even know what some of those are.
Right. So like a big thing with these zone bars is there's a lot of soy. Soy has been shown to be an endocrine disruptor, especially if you have any kind of hormonal problems. It actually will disrupt your endocrine system by substituting your natural estrogen and basically like going into those receptors, and kind of that's how it disrupts there. And then that causes a negative feedback loop that makes you produce more estrogen than you want. So that's why men are told not to consume a lot of soy, because it actually increases their estrogen levels, decreases their testosterone. So I always stay away from anything that has soy in it. So that would be one big thing that I wouldn't suggest anyone to consume this, just due to that ingredient, large amount of soy in this product.
But what if you're a vegan or vegetarian, and like soy protein is a big way of you getting in your...
So there's other plant proteins that don't have the same effect that soy does. So you've got pea protein, which is I think a popular one. Hemp protein. It is becoming
really popular, yeah.
And then also, I'm trying to think. I think there's if you're vegan, this wouldn't work, but if you're vegetarian, egg white protein is probably the tastiest and best for vegetarians.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for listening to this segment of the Fitness Empowerment Podcast. I certainly hope you enjoyed it, and if you did and you want to listen to the full-length episodes, then please head on over to iTunes or SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Outcast, Google Play, Pocket Casts, and all the links will be in the description box below, and I can't wait to see you over on those other platforms for the complete episodes. Thanks so much, and I'll see y'all there. Bye.
Be empowered to make a change in your life and take the next step on your health and fitness journey.